the clouds.
We're in the sky.
Sitting on a magic carpet.
On a magic carpet. We're going to talk about some cool stuff today.
Some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Bliss-Body. So what is this?
The Bliss-Body. Yeah, so in the yogic teachings or philosophy, talks about koshas. Have you heard that word? In Sanskrit, it means like a sheath or a field. So they talk about, we have 5 koshas. And so the first one is the Annamaya kosha, which is a physical body. And the Pranamaya kosha, which is the breath body, the prana. And then the Manamaya kosha is the mind field, where we're all connected mentally. And then the Vijnanamaya kosha, which means the wisdom body, or like where we receive intuition or like inspiration. We're all connected via this outer field. And then there's the Anandamaya kosha. And maybe you heard the word Anandamide. We have like chocolate. Gives you the Anandamide, the bliss hormone. Ananda means bliss in Sanskrit. So the largest body that we have access to, that's
really?
Actually all encompassing, like everyone is part of and connected into the Anandamaya kosha. It's the largest field.
So that's what they're talking about when they say like love is everything. Love is like what everything emerges out of.
Yeah, it literally is like the biggest field that we're all swimming in and immersed in, and it contains all the other bodies. So it never says like Bliss-Body is only the good stuff. You know,
it's everything.
So my first book I wrote, The Chocolate Fast, Embracing Your Bliss One Truffle at a Time. It's on Amazon if you haven't read it yet. But I talk about what bliss really is, like bliss with a little b versus bliss with a big B, because whenever people hear bliss, they think, oh, that's just like some ecstatic moment, and then you can't have bliss all the time, you know. But if you look at it from the Bliss-Body perspective, like we're always in bliss all the time. We just don't always know it, right? So like to access the Bliss-Body is to remember, and this is my mantra actually, my favorite mantra is, this too is bliss. So like whatever you're going through, whether it's positive, negative, up, down, sideways.
Everything is bliss.
Everything is bliss.
Yeah, for me when I like had my yogi experience, it was I don't know, like a whole lot of like learning first, just like how to have my experience and then like kind of step out of it and observe it. Right? And then eventually I would kind of reach a state where like I would forget all words. I'd even like forget my own name. And the more I kind of spend time actively like in doing yoga and like being in that state, I found that like all the time I would be like walking in like bliss. Like everything is a beautiful moment. Sometimes like shitty things would happen and be like, okay, well, whatever. But then like I could easily like step out of it and then like return to just like feeling blissful like every single moment. And yeah, I'm guessing that's kind of the thing with existential kink.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We talked about that last time. Carolyn Elliott, who goes by Carolyn Lovewell now. That's her new name.
Makes sense, honestly. It does.
Because she does love well. But yeah, the idea that everything is part of this one field. So, I mean, I guess the first step of returning to unity or returning to the awareness of bliss is to acknowledge the polarities, you know, like to acknowledge the good and the bad. But then I believe, and this is what yoga teachings say too, that karma and like reincarnation and stuff comes from like repelling parts of reality and like cleaving to other parts. Like we prefer these and we don't like these. So because we're doing that, we're actually creating this polarization that makes us have to be reborn, because we're pushing away part of reality. So we have to go back until we can accept it all, and like, because it's all us, it's all part of the bliss. So in doing that, we actually step off the karmic wheel and we live in the eternal now, which is, I mean, that's immortality in my mind. That's
kind of what Jesus did, right? Like his whole deal, like, yeah, even though I'm going through this crazy death, just like, nope, I'm just going to maintain my blissful state.
Yeah, and don't judge them. Like, they don't know what they're doing. They're just acting their part, you know? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I mean, reality is really set up to prefer and to judge. You know, your whole like judicial system and stuff is set up on this, you know, polarity where we prefer and we choose to have a society. And some people think heaven is no more bad things ever happen, you know, and I don't think that's realistic in this plane.
It's just being able to feel love like constantly.
And I think like the only reason we have such a hardcore polarity, like things are really distorted toward, you know, like maybe we say like so evil in one hand, is because we don't accept it. Like we push it so far away that it has to be like, I'm part of reality too, blah! You know, like stick its tongue at us and make us pay attention to it. But if we accept both polarities as being part of reality, then it doesn't have to be such a harsh, you know, difference between them. So I think heaven, or bringing heaven to earth, or being in that space, is accepting that it's all part of the experience and everything has beauty.
Yeah, that's, with my limited knowledge, it's like everything can be a divine moment, you know, which is pretty cool. That's ultimately what yoga tries to get you to do. And I do a lot of like considering the way, like the things that I've heard in the Mormon religion, because that's kind of where I've got like all my religious and spiritual discussions from. When they talk about like, yeah, God loves us, he loves everything in existence. It's like, well, isn't like the whole point of being like Mormon or any other religion to like try and be like God, or to like walk with God all the time? Then that would mean that everything within your existence that you experience, you have to be able to like feel like divine love for. You know, and if you're the type of person who's like religious and judging things, or like judging parts of yourself that don't necessarily agree with like dogma, then you're not really being like God. But if you can tune into that, just like just that I guess that divine overarching field of love, then you are in fact walking with God. You know?
And you can sit with the sinners or the prostitutes or whoever we label in this society as being, you can sit with them and still be in that bliss body, because you know it's all part of it.
And even more so, if you can do that and like apply that to your own like personal experience, you know, then that's kind of a cool thing too.
Right.
You know, not kind of, but like it's a really
Very cool
thing, you know.
Yeah,
like,
to sit with yourself in
just
your lowest moments.
Over like the past couple days, honestly, with like trying to apply the stuff from that book, like I've had so many experiences come up where it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna dive even deeper into this. And like when I meditate, like I'll perceive like what I think are like demons, or just like crazy negative experiences, or I'll have dreams where like I'm underwater and there's like always some kind of like crazy fish monster, and I'm like, oh my god, I want to get out of here, but like if I change my attitude to like, no, like this is super awesome, and I just get to that like I guess that frame of mind, you know, then these demons and things that kind of present themselves to me, like anxiety, fear, whatever, will hit me, and like, okay, I'm gonna do this with it. And instead of it being something that bugs me for like hours, like, hey dude, I'm trying to get some like expression here and like permission to exist, it comes up and I'm like, okay dude, what's up bro? Like, you're here with me, cool. And then like I don't even really have to engage with it, I don't have to try to talk to it like you see in like therapy books. It's just like I just feel this and I'm just here with the experience. It doesn't even make sense, because like a lot of the stuff that your subconscious throws at you in like symbolism never makes any sense. But as long as I have that like cosmic orgasmic love, right, then like it kind of dissolves.
Yeah, this is good. You're talking about the Existential Kink book again, which is awesome, and I always love to recommend that. But I have a lot of friends and clients and colleagues that are constantly saying, oh, I wish I could just stop having these thoughts. Like if I could just get these terrible thoughts or these self-judgment thoughts out of my head, then my life would be great. Like I just need to stop having these thoughts. And but this approach is like, have the thoughts, like recognize that there's actually something about having those thoughts that you actually dig, that you wanted to have those thoughts. Like, what about those thoughts actually feels good? Like, feel the way your body feels.
Yeah.
And just erase your judgment about it and just viscerally like feel the sensations in your body, like, and dig that.
Yeah. And like, I feel like a lot of people, when they're thinking about like, okay, well, I have to like love this experience that I'm in, it's like, it's not necessarily you that's loving it. It's more like there's something greater than you that is pure love, and you're just like tuning into that.
That's good.
Like a, like a, what do they call it? A vessel. Yeah, you're more like a vessel for this like intense, divine feeling of love, like in your body, right? While your body feels something else. So you don't really have to think about it, like for anybody that watches this, as like you love the experience that you're having, but
so good.
you are trying to tune into that, like that feeling, and being able to like have the two sensations that you're having at simultaneously, you know.
That's actually the alchemy right there. Like when you can hold the positive and the negative charge together, then you open like a portal, literally, like, and actually in your physiology, if you know about chakras and, you know, the positive and negative poles that have to run, you know, even the magnetic electrical energy in the body, like if you can hold both charges simultaneously. And I used to play with this when I was first learning this. I would play with, I'm happy right now, but what's the opposite of that? I'm sad. Okay, so I'm sad right now. And I would just like have the happy feeling, but call it sad. I'm sad right now. This is me being sad. And then when I'd be sad, I'd be like, I'm happy right now, just to like kind of trick, because we're so connected to the words and we like identify so much with a word. But to hold both charges is actually what causes the energy to go into a singular field down the center of your spine, because now you're not going like this with your life force energy. It's not going from the left to the right and the right to the left. It's actually going down what's called Brahmi Nadi. It's the central channel in the spine. And that's the goal of yoga, is to stop doing this and start doing this with your energy. So when we do that emotionally, when we're like, I love this and I hate it together. I both love and hate it. I both love and hate you. You know, like you actually can't really love someone without being able to hate them too, because they're two sides of a thing. And that's like the alchemy that moves you, you could say, like physiologically from one chakra experience to another, or one state of mind to another, is that alchemical holding of both poles.
That's pretty neat. I mean, yeah, that's kind of sums out like what I've been experiencing for a few days.
It's cool.
Like it is really cool.
And advanced, like it's like if you can do that, that's masterful.
Yeah. It's a really cool like concept in that book of just like absolutely as simple as it needs to be, you know, because you can go to like all kinds of different talk therapy and like, okay, we're going to take you to your traumatic experience and we're going to try to like change it, or like you do MDMA therapy, you go through like your traumatic stuff and like you have to like be able to be there and like reframe it and whatnot. But if you just like get practice doing that, like feeling like, okay, well, I'm really like loving this experience from somewhere, not you. Probably your body is absolutely hating the experience that you're having.
But from your bliss body, the love field.
But your bliss body is definitely enjoying something about it, and that's kind of what gives like the negative experience that you have like space to exist, and then exist and die instead of just exist and stay there, which is pretty cool. There's this so I was reading this book actually, The 10 Times Rule by like Grant Cardone, right? Just because I don't remember why I was reading it, but I found myself reading this book. And probably the most useful thing I got out of that book was his analogy with fear. Is like how to become fearless, right? And his analogy is like fear is like a fire. Once it starts, right, it feeds on time. The longer your fear exists, you like it will grow and grow and grow and fester. So if you like feel a feeling of fear with anything that you're dealing with, and you use that as a signpost for like, this is a sign that I need to do something right now, and you just immediately go and do it, you're going to feel less fear, because the fire of fear has had less time, less oxygen, and you've been able to kill it, right?
Oh, that's good.
So I decided to apply that because like I was driving through some area in Colorado and I passed this skydiving place, and I never thought I would go skydiving, so I was like, I'm feeling fear at the thought of doing that. Like, all right, screw it, I'm gonna go do it. And I signed up, and it turned out that like I had to skydive like next week, so I had a whole week to sit and stew on it. And it was really funny because I would shift between like being like, oh yeah, this is totally fine, and I felt no fear for like the first 2 days, but by the third day I started like thinking about it and like feeling fear by it. Ended up doing it, and it was a super awesome experience, and I'm really glad I did. But yeah, with existential kink, what she says in there that like really rung a bell with me was like, fear and love are the same thing, right? So if you're feeling fear, like for me in particular, I would feel a lot of fear with like relationships, right? Or like there's this girl I really like, oh my god, I'm like super like panicked about like talking to her and whatnot. Looking back, it's like, oh, that's kind of weird. I felt a lot of fear when I was around this like person instead of like a lot of love. I knew I liked her, but I would feel fear. And she says like fear is love that like doesn't have permission to breathe, or I don't know, something weird like that. But it's kind of cool, dude, like if you break things down that way.
I always thought, I tell myself fear means I need to do the thing. Like if I feel afraid, then that actually means I need to do it. So it's like, you're feeling this, go there, you know?
Yep. It's like if you're not doing the thing and feeling love for what you're doing, instead you're feeling fear because you're not doing the thing you should be doing, like whatever the fear is. Like, nope, this is my spirit trying to tell me like, hey, there's something you need to go do that you're absolutely gonna love,
right?
But because you're not doing it and you're not like allowing yourself to do it, it's coming through as fear.
It's like we talked about, anxiety and excitement are the same. You know, like you can think of it as anxiety, which is kind of like a fear, or you can think of it as excitement, which is like, oh, I'm gonna love this. You know, it's similar.
Yeah, dude, I fucking love that concept. I'm gonna have to like read more books that you recommend. We have more shit to talk about.
I've read some good books. Yeah. I feel like everyone needs to see how beautiful this place is. We're sitting, all these sunflowers and stuff. Super beautiful. Here in the mountains. All right. Is there anything else to say?
How you doing?
Not really. Good. How you doing?
Great. We're talking about the Bliss-Body. Get some. No, you already got it. It's your biggest body.
There you go. Yeah, I'm not. Oh, cute puppies.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Oh, taking some video, huh?
Yes. All right. Well,
I guess that's that one.
thanks for chatting with us.
Read the book. Do it. Change your life.